Hey, and welcome to this video, 10 haram things that most people didn't know were haram. So the first one, number 10, is non-halal meat. Now you might think that's quite obvious, but I'll tell you one thing, when I used to go to university, a lot of people used to just go into certain shops and buy like chicken burgers that were like literally not halal. So you've got to be careful when you go into stores, shops, takeaways, restaurants, that you're actually ordering meat which is halal, particularly if you follow the Muslim dietary Islamic laws. Okay, so number 9. Number 9 is penny sweets which contain gelatin. Now, if you're like me and you grew up in the West, you see that when we were younger, we'd often go to the corner shop and purchase these penny sweets. At that time, we didn't know a lot of these sweets actually contain gelatin. Now, gelatin is a translucent, colorless, flavorless food ingredient derived from collagen taken from animal body parts. It is brittle when dry and gummy when moist. You see, a lot of these gelatin sweets are actually made from different animals such as cow or possibly even pig such as pork. So therefore, it's clearly not halal. Although nowadays you can actually get penny sweets which are halal and also suitable for vegetarians. Just make sure you read the ingredients. As you know, growing up in the West, we quite often are found in supermarkets looking at shelves and actual packets with the ingredients on. You might not have the same issue in Middle East or Eastern countries, but when you're living in the West, you have to normally look at the ingredients to see what's actually in there to give you an idea whether it's halal or not. Number 8, seeing as it's nearly the festive period, black pudding, also known as blood pudding, is a distinct regional type of blood sausage originating in the UK and Ireland. It's made from pork blood with pork fat or beef suet and a cereal, usually oatmeal, oat groats or barley groats. You might find your neighbour offering you some, or you might even see somebody selling it in the supermarket or whatever it might be, but just be careful that obviously it's not going to be halal, particularly even though it might be the festive period or a celebration or holiday. So number 7 is marshmallow. Now, marshmallow is a type of confectionery that is typically made from sugar, water and gelatin, whipped to a squishy consistency. It is used as a filling in baking or commonly molded into shapes and coated with cornstarch. Now, you probably find many people around campfires, with marshmallows, or sometimes at kids' parties or whatever. Marshmallows do normally contain gelatin, but you can also get vegetarian and halal varieties in case you didn't know. Number 6 is one of my favorites, cake mix. Now I don't know about you, some people like cooking, I like eating cakes. But anyway, cake mix can also contain beef and pork fat, which are common ingredients in a dry, particularly box cake mixes. These fats are often listed on the ingredients list as lard. To avoid these additions to your cakes, cupcakes or brownies, opt in for a homemade version instead. Again, if you look hard enough, you'll probably be able to find a vegetarian or halal version of cake mix somewhere in one of the stores or shops close by. But also make sure that just because it says vegetarian or halal, that it doesn't contain alcohol. So always double check. Number 5 is very popular in the UK, chips or fries. Now alone, generally they seem as vegetarian friendly, but beware, sometimes fries or chips, particularly when you go down to the chippy, they could have been fried in animal fats. Most fries in restaurants these days, they use soya bean or vegetable oil and those type of things to accommodate allergies, but it's still good practice to always double check, particularly if you're going into a restaurant which is not serving halal food. Of course, chips are made from potatoes, and the main problem really is the oil, so make sure the oil is suitable for vegetarians or halal. So we've got to maintain a balanced and well thought out diet. So one of the ways to do that is obviously to get the greens in, your vegetables. Sometimes you might not like the taste, but they're definitely good and healthy for you and wholesome nutritionally. Well, number 4 is salad dressings. You've got to double check, especially when you go to a restaurant, because sometimes salad dressings contain bacon fat within it. So you've got to double check that actually it is meat free and suitable for vegetarians, and it doesn't contain any alcohol either. So number 3 is animal stock, which you got to be careful of. A stock is a flavored liquid that has been prepared with either animal bones, meat, seafood or vegetables that have been simmered in water or wine. An animal stock may sneak up in foods that you never would have imagined. So as with everything else on the list, it's key that you check the ingredients and label before actually buying or eating anything, particularly if you're at a restaurant or you purchase something from a supermarket. Double check and make sure that the animal stock is from a vegetarian variety. So number 2, we often use to make cakes, cupcakes, we put in our tea, coffees, it's white sugar. Now, if you use white sugar, you got to be aware that it might have been bleached and filtered with bone char, meaning that your sugar could contain traces of animal bones. This is the most common way to filter cane sugar, although a few companies are switching over to alternative methods that would be using granular carbon instead. So double check that the white sugar that you're using is actually suitable for vegetarians and is halal. And number 1, the one that you've been waiting for, is Carmine, which is a red pigment that is obtained by crushing the dried bodies of female cochineal beetles. And as beetles and insects, these are not permissible for Muslims to eat. Although, just a little bit of a disclaimer, some schools of thoughts do allow that within particular conditions. However, generally Muslims don't normally eat insects, and these are deemed as haram. But also you'll find Carmine in skincare products, cosmetic products, as well as foods, chocolates, desserts, sweets, and these different types of ingredients and products. In the European Union, the use of Carmine in foods is regulated under the European Commission's directive governing food additives in general and food dyes in particular, listed as names such as cochineal, carminic acid, carmines, and also natural red 4, and you often find the E number as E120. So when you're looking at your food products, make sure you check out for this particular red dye type of ingredient. So there you go, that's our top 10 haram foods many people think might be actually halal. So make sure you put your opinion in the comment section and let us know what you think about our list.